Hello and welcome. It's Matt. Thanks for being here. We're looking at HLOOKUP. Before we looked at VLOOKUP, which is a vertical lookup, now we're going to look at HLOOKUP. The syntax is identical. It has the same arguments and the same limitations. So as I said in the last one, and I will continue to say it until we get to XLOOKUP, if you haven't used these, just go to XLOOKUP and use XLOOKUP. Again, if you're just using Google Sheets, it makes sense. If you're using updated versions of Excel, it makes sense. The only reasons to use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP would be if you have a previous version or if you're just so used to them. That's why you use them. So if you're learning now, don't use them unless you have to. So anyway, with that, let's get started. So first, we're going to get the equal sign HLOOKUP, and that is a horizontal lookup. So the first is the search key. That is what you're going to search. In this case, the employee ID to match to this table here, which is set up vertically. So most of the time we have it like this, where the headers are at the top. This one has the headers over here. So the range, just like the other one too, has the limitation where it has to be the first one. And so in this case, it's actually going to be the top. Whereas for VLOOKUP, it was the leftmost. For H is the topmost. So you're going to start here. And I know this one I have to kind of pull all the way. And then here's the end. I'm just holding Shift and then clicking here. And that gets us all the way there. And then Shift, still holding Shift and just pushing down here. Really, I could just have started there and then pushed here. But yeah. Now, for the cells, I want to make sure that it doesn't move at all. And so I'm going to use F4, which locks it. So these, this just makes it an absolute cell reference, meaning it's not going to change. It's not going to be pulled up or down or left or right based off of what I move the fill handle for. It actually might be good. I might actually take this back and then make a mistake just to show you what it'll look like. So if I just did this, let's try that. Now the index, since we're doing the full name, it's going to be, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, as always, just do false because you want a true lookup. So that looks good. Now here's what's going to happen. I'm going to start pulling it down, and then I'm going to get errors. It actually suggests this. So it suggests keep the reference up here. I'm going to say no. Because why? Well, let's just look at what's happening. So this one here is getting pulled down, and I want that to because I want it to pull down here. This one, though, look at the table here. It got pulled down 1 because I pulled this one down. Same here. It got pulled down another. So at this point, I mean, it's just all the way down here. And so that's where using absolute references, so $, column, $row, $column, $row, that locks it in there. So it's always looking at that table. So there we go. Other thing too, like let's say, sorry, I'm going to take these off again. The same thing happens if I move it this way. It's going to move over into this like not complete one because there's part of the table gets knocked off over there. So just basically, if you get errors like that, check your cells because most likely there's something wrong. And even here, if I start moving it, I'm still going to get that. Why? Well, this one's A, and it should still be A3, but this one switched to B3. So now it's looking for fun zone, and that's not right. And then this one is there. So in this case, I would need this to be a mixed reference where I always want it to be A. Sometimes I want the rows to go down. So again, it does take, like I said with the other one, it takes a little bit. So I'm going to pull it through this way, and then this one needs to be email. So as a limitation, I have to always, oops, that's not what I meant. I have to always change this little number into the email. So that's 6, and this one to 4. And then here, I'm going to start pulling it down. Now, sometimes I've showed you that command return. If I do that here, though, it's going to actually do whatever is in the first highlighted one here. If I go here, and then down. It's going to do the same thing. So no matter what with those, unfortunately, you can't just do that. So you have to kind of do it one at a time. Enter, enter. Well, so command shift down, shift, oops, sorry, command enter. There we go. So kind of a lot there, but we have it. And really, I want it to end there. So I'm holding command shift down and then back and then command up. And that just deletes all of that. So here we have some NAs, and we might want to build that in. Here it's because this is not a number, it is text. You can tell because it's on the left side instead of the right. Again, that's another important practice to never mess with number or just formatting like this one here. You don't want to do that because then you won't be able to tell which ones are numbers and which ones are texts because they're formatted. Just leave them to where they go naturally, and that gives an inclination to what it is. Like sometimes there are mistakes that happen. This one here, just like the other one, and I'm just doing command find and putting that there. It's not found anywhere else on this sheet, so it's not in our data set, so we don't know who this is. This isn't a real employee ID. Hopefully this is not a real funds owed, because it's a lot of cheddar. So anyway, in this, if you want, you can leave it as NA, which means not found. You can also do something with the if NA, and then you have to have the nest it, and then you can say something like not found. You can really type whatever you want there. It's whatever you want. And then that's a nice way where you can filter it out if you have a larger data set to see like, okay, which ones were not found. And then you can look and then make adjustments or see if there's, some sort of issue with it or truly they're not in our database. So that's HLOOKUP. As I said at the start, I'll say again here, stick with this until the XLOOKUP because that's what you should use. The constraints of these, like I said, you have to mess around with those numbers. They have to be either on the left side for VLOOKUP or the top, the lookup value for HLOOKUP. And then the other thing is that it's by itself, you can't have multiple things like this. You can't make it an array. XLOOKUP can do all of that and more. So stick around for that to see why this updated one is the best lookup function of these three that we're looking at. Till then.